HSBC is axing another 10,000 jobs. Let's have a look. Good morning everyone, Florian Heiser here and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. I'm starting the week with a stein of coffee and I thought we would have a look at this article about HSBC axing another 10,000 jobs. Now before we jump through this article, let's just have a look at the About HSBC section to get an understanding of their presence in Australia. So they first established operations in 1965 and was awarded a commercial license in 86. Today their headquarters is in Barangaroo and they employ more than 2,000 people in Australia. So they've got a network of 45 branches and offices around the country for retail, wholesale and private banking, and among other things. So they have a presence here in Australia. They're not one of the big fours, but they are a brand that you would recognise, particularly if you, like me, live in the Asian part of the city. You see it all around. And if you've been to Hong Kong, you're familiar with it. So, I think this does have some relevance to the Australian market, particularly the financial sector. And there's a few things I want to look at as well to this article, if we should feel happy or sad, particularly what's come out in the Panama Papers about HSBC. So guys, please help share this channel, help share these videos, and help it grow. I'd really appreciate it. Share it with your friends. I know banking is not the most exciting thing in the world to talk about at the barbecue between Bundy Rums, but it is something everyone should be discussing because, frankly, they have a lot of influence on our lives and a lot of influence on the political system here in Australia, all the banks. So, HSBC plans to axe 10,000 jobs, bringing the total to 60,000. Banking employees downsized just this year. So I don't know if there are going to be many people sad for banking employees losing their jobs, but you have to understand, it's still people losing their jobs. It's good coffee. Good Monday coffee. So in a cost-cutting, belt-tightening initiative, HSBC, a top-tier global bank, plans to downsize about 10,000 employees, according to the Financial Times. This was reported after a prior announcement had been made that the bank would be laying off over 4,000 professionals. Well-compensated senior-level executives will bear the brunt of the cuts. So I think they'll be fine. Maybe it'll be time to retire up in the Whitsundays. Buy one of those islands that's going cheap. Downsizing has become a regular occurrence for both European and US banks. Banking and financial institutions are confronted with a toxic combination of falling interest rates, uncertainty over Brexit, tensions between China and Hong Kong protests, the ramification of trade wars, and the possibility of a recession, and an accompanying downturn in global stock markets. Well, I would also say just the toxic culture inside the banking industry, but we'll have a look at some glass ceiling comments just to get an inside perspective. So HSBC's new interim CEO, Noel Quinn, is deviating from predecessor John Flint's stance on staffing. It was reported that Flint was let go in part due to his resistance in taking action to deal with the economic and geopolitical challenges, including initiating downsizing. So they got rid of Flint and they got someone that would cut numbers. According to the Financial Times, a source told the paper, "We know for years that we need to do something about our cost base, the largest component of which is people. Now we are finally grasping the nettle." So, here's one thing to remember, guys. You're just a cost base. You're just a cost base. So we're hearing this more and more, that the banks are cutting staff and HSBC, we spoke about this a few months ago. Most of the job reductions will be in its European business division, where there is greater weakness compared to other locations. The bank will focus efforts on one of its bright spots, its Asian division, which is realizing solid double-digit growth. Do you think that includes Australia? Big US banks such as JP Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo have also felt the pressure from the current economic environment and lowered their 2019 profit forecasts. Similar to HSBC, the bank cited the adverse impact of lower and negative interest rates on their profits. It's been brutal for people who work on Wall Street. banking and financial services. I don't think anyone in the world is going to feel sorry for people who work in Wall Street, banking and financial services. I mean, let me know in the comments, guys. Would you feel sorry for people? I'm sure individually, if you know people that have been working that have been let off. The biggest risk is that when you're working in that sector, you adopt the lifestyle where you have to keep up with the Joneses, and you just incur so much personal debt. But I'm sure they know what they're doing. I hope so. According to Business Insider, about 60,000 jobs were slashed this year. The last 6 months alone saw banks collectively announce plans to downsize about 30,000 people. In the US and in Europe, Deutsche Bank previously announced plans to downsize 18,000 employees. Citigroup axed hundreds of trading-related professionals. Commerce Bank planned to eliminate 4,300 jobs, Barclays let go 3,000, and Societe Generale eliminated 1,600 jobs. With the ascent of technology, automation, and artificial intelligence, banking executives are able to jettison employees that can be replaced. Algorithm software has pushed out live traders. Those engaged in repetitive and menial type roles are similarly separated from the payroll in favor of automation. There you go. It seems that bank management is playing it safe. Concerns over tariffs, trade wars, decreasing trade volumes, low interest rates, Brexit, internal nasty political battles within the US and Europe, an exceeding decade-long bull market run, and other factors that could ultimately end in a recession give the executives an excuse to cut jobs and save money, possibly difficult days ahead. If you're looking for a new job, be prepared. When there is a trend of downsizing, each new job requisition is scrutinized. Potential new hires will have to be absolutely necessary. Banks will be careful as they don't want to add headcount only to fire the person or the people in the near term. It may be very challenging for job seekers moving forward. However, Wall Street is known for moving in excesses. They'll overhire when times are good and overfire when things look bleak. The pendulum moves quickly. Just as fast as they lay off, the banks will quickly rehire when the climate appears sunnier. So, an interesting point there, or piece there by Jack Kelly. So let's have a look at a few things. Let's jump here to the Panama Papers. And here it said, the Panama Papers, and this was from 2016. But these things tend to drop off the radar, don't they? People don't tend to remember. So HSBC helped rich clients register more than 2,300 shell companies. So why do you have shell companies? Well, for phoenixing, for tax evasion, why else? We've seen a lot of them in developers, haven't we? The Panama Papers trove of leaked documents cast HSBC Holdings in a harsh light, with the consortium of investigative journalists behind the documents reporting it found the bank was amongst the most active in registering shell companies that move money around the world on behalf of rich and politically elected clients. HSBC and its affiliates accounted for more than 2,300 of the 15,600 shell companies that Mossack Fonseca, a Panama law firm, helped form for clients of hundreds of international banks, according to findings released by the International Consortium of Investigating Journalists. Journalists working with the consortium poured through millions of pages of documents leaked from the firm to piece together what they alleged was a global web of shell companies that helped hide wealth of world's leading leaders and criminals, among others. The records outline the creation of more than 200,000 offshore companies in all, the group said. Well, there you go. I mean, huge tax leak exposed alleged financial affairs of the president of China. While companies that shield owners' identities can be used legally, they can also be used for hiding assets, laundering funds, or evading taxes. The US, among other countries, requires banks doing business in the country to perform certain levels of due diligence on their clients and to understand who the beneficial owners of such structures may be. More than 500 banks in all requested that Mossack Fonseca and a predecessor firm create shell companies for their clients from 1977 through to the end of 2015. That would have been a good stint for that firm there, that legal firm. Just think about that. Just setting up these companies. And that would be pretty easy. You'd have a system in place, you just churn it through, easy money. Why did I do architecture? Should have gone into Panama and become a lawyer. And then we've got all the names here. So guys, I will link to this article if you'd like to go through the whole thing, but it just shows you that HSBC is not really an innocent, sweet bank, is it? And also that there's, frankly, a huge class distinction between normal people and the people that have access to these type of strategies to mitigate tax and to hide wealth. We're here in Australia, we're looked down upon because we want to spend $10,000 cash. Oh, we can't have people doing that. I mean, yeah, I think there's another black market around the world that is much worse than paying a tradie in cash to save some GST. You know, this money going here, what do you think it's going to do to stimulate the economy? When cash transactions, I think that'll do more to stimulate that economy. So let's have a look. This is a glass door. I called it glass ceiling, glass door. And here's some different reviews of HSBC holdings in Sydney. So here we go, 3.4 stars. He recommends a positive outlook. And we'll go through the cons because, people like the cons. Change of staff and positions is common, but this is normal at all banks. And when was this done? In September 2018. Here we go. Pros, great experience. Professionals with good camaraderie. Uh-oh, there's that C word, comrade. So cons, bureaucratic and slow to make decisions with multiple layers of management. A director in Sydney from 2019. So this is yesterday. Well, there you go. So he recommends it and he has a positive outlook. This is from February 2019. So good company. I worked at HSBC Holdings for less than a year. Pros, good people, relaxed atmosphere, great work-life balance. Cons, not paid in line with other banks within the same industry. So a great place to gain international exposure. This is in Jan 2019, Pros, breadth of work would have you engaging with multiple stakeholders from different countries. Culture is generally good. People are from diverse ethnic backgrounds. Okay, well, he's a lefty. Does that make a difference to you if you're choosing to work somewhere? I mean, I as an employer, I've hired, what do I have? I had Kiwis, I had Swiss, I had Poms, I had Africans and Asians, all working at the same time, And sure, there are some slight cultural things that you have to massage, but it's not that big a deal. It doesn't make that big a difference. I really didn't care. It was if you were good or you weren't. If you were lazy. And there's one thing, being a lazy bastard, I found is universal to all cultures and civilizations. It can be lazy spoiled brats. Personal experience with that. So, haven't fired a Yank yet, haven't hired an American. Or maybe haven't yet. We'll see. So cons, multiple layers of management can delay execution process. Be prepared to deal with politics from around the world. Well, okay, so he's saying here, diverse ethnic backgrounds are good, then he's bitching about politics from around the world. Well, what do you want, mate? What do you want? Current employee. Here we go. Conventional and limited. This is from December 2018. Neutral outlook, no opinion of the CEO. Pros, good working culture and company values. Moderately high compensation, high job security for internal staff, a well-developed system of process and procedures, great corporate structure. Cons, limited growth opportunities for entry-level employees, and hierarchical structure. So, advice to management, don't just preach the company values, live and demonstrate them to your employees through actions. That seems very naive. So, credit executive recommends positive outcome. Good salary, people focused. Cons, very, very old-style system. Centralized control from UK or HK. Future. I've been working at HSBC Holdings full-time for more than 10 years. Global organisation, good management so far. Growing organisation in Australia. Limited cross-function experience. So consultant specialist. Amazing place to work. Truly defined work-life balance. I didn't see any cons. Wow. He's worked there full-time. Former employee. Here we go. And that was in 2018. Here we go. We got some of the less positive ones. They're always more entertaining, aren't they? Guys, I'll have a shot of coffee before we go to this one. In June 2018. Don't waste your time. A former employee, anonymous employee in Sydney. So it doesn't recommend, negative outlook, and no opinion of CEOs. I worked at HSBC Holdings full-time for less than a year. Pros, work-life balance. Nice people. I made relationships here that I will keep after my time at HSBC. Decent pays. Con. Here we go. It's a bit of a rant, but come on, entertaining. unable to accelerate growth locally due to being dependent on both HK and UK to give their permission to move forward. To set the context, HSBC has the majority market share in both Hong Kong and UK, but remains a challenger brand in Australia. The company does not give the local market the freedom to innovate at the pace that they are capable of. Political culture. Management are unable to reconcile their differences and are too scared to step on each other's toes, leading to a general stalemate with employees being unable to move their initiatives forward. Disabling culture. Most companies do everything in their power to enable their workforce. This company is the first that I've witnessed where managers from different teams actively block employees from trying to do what's best for the business. It reminds me of Dilbert, to be honest. Alpha mentality, leading to meetings with people talking over each other to get their points heard. While this isn't necessarily a negative con if things get done, I found that conversations were generally deflecting or pushing back on almost all requests for assistance without any tangible alternatives or solutions being brought to the table. Meetings can go on for an hour, only to lead to no outcome or no actions. Doesn't sound like a good place to work, does it? Too many disengaged employees due to their lack of control to execute and deliver. Oh, disengaged employees, yes. Decision to hire people made not on merit. People are within technical roles that do not have a technical background, and people are in managerial roles without the ability to manage people and programs of work. There definitely seems to be a certain element of favoritism within the organization. Well, that's interesting that we're seeing here. People without technical roles or management roles. And then over here, we're having someone else going tick, tick, tick to diversity of ethnic backgrounds. So do you think the human resources sector might be a little biased in their hiring policies? You know, I mean, these are only glass ceiling or glass door reviews, but still gives us some insight, guys. And you never get the truth about an organization better than when someone's pissed, had a few drinks, and is writing online. So, catfishing. Multiple employees felt that they were lied to regarding role and remit. Instead of utilizing these employees to the best of their ability and developing and nurturing their skills or passions, they were forced to become glorified project managers. Advice to management: empower your people, stop letting everything be political. It's only political if everyone silently agrees it is and idles on instead of working towards a solution. So here we go, another one from June 2018. When was he? So we had 2 people in June. So current employee doesn't recommend, negative outlook, disapproves of CEO. I've been working at HSBC Holdings full-time for more than a year. Pros: good office location and views. Decent culture for the most part, but quickly diminishing due to staff leaving. Flat structure, which makes it exciting, but chaotic. Cons: lied about compensation. Signs contract, then changes terms after relocation. Overworked with staff. Sleeping in the office and each other. Very political from top-down chain of command. No client's interest at heart, always swearing behind their back, quite unethical even after Panama Papers scandal. Everyone knows about bad practices, restructuring needs to be in place again. Enough with the freeze, hire excuses. Either you have a local practice or you don't. So guys, I think that's enough to give us a little bit of an insight into that organization. I mean, we've seen they're not squeaky clean from the Panama Papers. There certainly is a difference. So what do you all think? Are you sad about the 10,000 cuts? Do you think Australia has an opportunity to grow in this sector? Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And if you'd like to help me produce more content on a variety of topics, I have a Patreon and a Subscribe Star in the link below. Thank you to everyone who supports me there, people who provide PayPal donations, and even people who use my Amazon affiliate link or my new eBay affiliate link. All of that stuff adds up and just means I can spend time doing this and don't have to worry as much. Anyway, guys, take care, and I'll talk to you later today. Bye for now.